Breathe slowly. Let the weight of the day drift away. Close your eyes if you wish, or soften your gaze. Tonight we walk into a story whispered by the wind, carried by the rivers, and guarded by the moon. There is a village, small and quiet, where the bamboo leans in the night air, where the frogs sing by the ponds, and where the wind hums gently through the wooden eaves. Time moves slowly here. The days are stitched together by the sound of crickets, the glow of the moon, and the rustle of leaves. In this village lives an old woman. Her hair is white, like threads of moonlight. Her back is bent, as if carrying years of waiting. Her eyes, though tired, still hold a glow, soft, steady, unbroken. Each evening, as the sun falls and the sky folds into indigo, she lights a small oil lamp. She places it by the window, where its flame trembles in the breath of night. The lamp is not large, just a simple vessel, glass and brass, filled with oil. Yet the way it burns, the way it burns is unlike any other flame. It burns as though it carries a prayer, a wish, a longing. For she has a son far away, gone to the battlefield where earth and sky collide, where silence and thunder live side by side. She has not seen him for many moons, and the nights stretch long in her loneliness. But the lamp is her companion. She believes the light is a thread, stretching across rivers, across forests, across mountains, all the way to where her son wanders. She believes somehow he will see it, that the faint glow will find his weary heart, whispering, come home, my child, I am waiting." The neighbors know her ritual well. They see the lamp each night. Some smile gently, some shake their heads with pity, but none dare tell her to stop, for deep in their hearts they feel the truth. This light is more than oil and flame. It is a beacon of love. It is memory made visible. It is faith that refuses to die. And so, in the hush of night, when the world folds itself into quiet, the lamp shines on. It reflects on the bamboo leaves. It dances with the shadows of the river. It seems to merge with the stars themselves, as though the heavens bend lower to keep it company. Tonight, dear listener, we follow this light. We follow it into memory, into myth, into the gentle waves of longing. The story will not rush. It will not demand. It will move slowly, like water finding its way to the sea. And as you listen, your heart may find a rhythm, soft and steady, like the rocking of a cradle, like the hush of a lullaby. For this is not only the tale of a mother and her lamp, it is the tale of every waiting heart, every whispered prayer, every bond stretched by time and distance but never broken. The flame may tremble, but it does not fade. So rest your thoughts now. Let the story carry you. Feel the night air brush your skin. Hear the crickets weaving their endless song. See the lamp flicker in the window, its glow like a promise. A promise that no matter how far one wanders, love has a way of finding them. A promise that even in the darkest night, there will always be a light. A promise that you are not alone. And with this, we step inside, into the world of the lamp, into the heart of the waiting mother, into a story as old as the wind, as tender as the first breath of dawn. The village rests between the hills and the river, a place that seems untouched by haste. Here the bamboo grows tall, whispering secrets when the wind passes through. Their slender trunks rise into the sky, and when the moon is full, they cast shadows like strokes of ink across the earth. Children once played beneath them. Lovers carved their initials into the bark. The bamboo remembers everything. The river moves slowly, winding its way past the rice fields, carrying silt and reflections of the stars. At dusk, the surface glows with the fading sun, and at night it turns into a mirror of the heavens. Those who live nearby say the river is alive, that it sings softly to anyone who listens. that it carries the voices of ancestors. If one leans close, ear nearly brushing the water, they might hear a whisper not of this world. Everywhere life hums gently. Cicadas sing in the heat of the afternoon. Frogs croak as night descends. The soft call of an owl drifts from the forest edge. Even silence is never empty here. It is filled with the breathing of the land. Seasons turn with grace. In spring, rain falls like silver threads, tapping against the roofs, filling the ponds, feeding the roots. In summer, the air grows heavy, and the fields shimmer under the relentless sun. Autumn brings a softer wind, carrying the fragrance of ripe grain, of smoke from harvested stalks. And winter. Winter is gentle here, not harsh, but quiet. Nights lengthen, mist lingers, and the earth seems wrapped in a veil. The villagers have lived this cycle for generations. Their lives are woven with the rhythm of the soil, the tides of the river, the phases of the moon. They rise early, they work with their hands, they rest when the day leans into night. Their stories are told not in books, but in songs hummed at twilight, in folk tales passed around the hearth, in lullabies sung to restless children. And among all these threads of life, there is one house, small and humble, with walls of wood and a roof patched with care. From its window shines a light, a single oil lamp burning faithfully. The house belongs to the old woman, and the lamp has become part of the village's world, as natural as the stars, as constant as the river's song. Children walking home from evening play glance at it. Fishermen returning late see it from afar and know they are near safety. Young couples strolling under the moon pause for a moment, watching the glow, as though it blesses them in silence. The lamp is more than a lamp. It has grown into a symbol, though no one speaks of it openly. In a place where words are few and hearts are deep, people do not need explanations. They simply feel. They know. The air around the house carries a scent of oil and smoke, faint but enduring. The flame wavers when the night wind drifts in, but it never dies. Sometimes moths circle it, tiny, fragile wings drawn to the light. Sometimes raindrops beat against the window, but the glass shields the glow. Through storms, through heat, through endless nights of waiting, it remains. The land itself seems to bend around this ritual. The bamboo leans closer. The river carries the reflection farther. Even the stars, when they appear, seem to gather just above, as though in witness. And the mother, she moves with this world. At dawn, she rises with the mist. She sweeps the courtyard slowly, as though each leaf is sacred. She tends to her small garden, where herbs grow in clay pots, and where flowers bloom modestly. At midday, she sits in the shade, listening to the sounds of life unfolding, the distant chatter of children, the creak of carts along the path, the thrum of insects in the fields. But it is at night that her world comes alive. When shadows deepen, when silence thickens, she prepares her lamp. Her hands, though trembling with age, are precise. She fills it with oil. She trims the wick. She strikes the match gently, as though speaking to the flame. And when it catches, when the glow blooms, her eyes soften. For in that light, she sees not just fire. She sees her son's face, his smile, his childhood steps echoing in the courtyard. She sees memory made flesh. The world outside grows darker. The crickets begin their chorus. The river murmurs in the distance. The lamp answers with its steady breath. The flame becomes a second moon, close enough to touch. It casts its glow upon the bamboo, upon the roof, upon the waiting woman. And though the night stretches long, the light holds firm. Travelers who pass the village at night sometimes wonder about it. They ask the locals, "Why does she keep that lamp burning?" And the villagers answer simply, "She waits, that is all." But in their hearts, they know it is more than waiting. It is love turned into fire. It is hope that refuses to fall asleep. And so the world holds its breath around her. The bamboo sways, the river hums, the stars blink slowly above, and the lamp burns on, small but eternal, carrying with it every sigh, every memory, every dream. When the rains arrive, the lamp becomes even more striking. The storm gathers across the horizon, rolling with slow, rumbling thunder. Sheets of water fall from the heavens, striking the bamboo leaves until they shine like polished jade. The river swells, restless, its surface beaten into countless ripples. The paths turn into ribbons of mud, and the sound of rain drowns nearly everything. Yet through it all, the lamp remains. Its flame bends under the breath of the storm, its glow pressed against the glass. From the road, travelers can barely see more than a faint shimmer, like a firefly caught in the tempest. But it is enough. That faint shimmer reminds them there is warmth nearby, a home, a story still unfolding. And when the storm passes, the village glistens. Leaves drip silver. The soil exhales a fragrance of life renewed. The moon returns, pale and fragile, behind drifting clouds. And the lamp, never extinguished, continues to burn, as though mocking the storm, as though promising, I will not die. In summer nights, when the air is thick with heat, the glow takes on a different life. Fireflies rise from the grass, blinking like tiny stars pulled down to earth. They circle the lamp as though in reverence, as though recognizing one of their own. Children who cannot sleep sneak out to watch them, their bare feet padding across the courtyard. They count the fireflies, whispering wishes, until their mothers call them back. Still, their eyes linger on the lamp, glowing steady in the night, a comfort older than their years. Autumn wraps the world in quiet gold. The rice fields sway, heavy with promise. The evenings arrive sooner, carrying a chill that sharpens the air. Villagers gather their harvest, stack their grains, and smoke drifts from threshing fires. The old woman walks slower then, her breath faint in the cooling wind, her shawl wrapped tight. Yet the lamp burns brighter, as though compensating for the fading sun. Its reflection shimmers in the harvested ponds, and fishermen whisper prayers as they set out, believing the light keeps misfortune away. Winter, though gentle here, carries its own hush. Mist drapes the fields, softening every edge. The bamboo turns still, as if in meditation. The river moves quieter, its voice lowered to a murmur. Nights are long, stretching like silken cloth across the land. It is then that the lamp feels most necessary. The flame is no longer just memory. It becomes warmth itself, a heart beating against the chill. The villagers pass by, wrapped in cloaks, their breasts white in the air. They see the glow at her window, and for a moment, the cold seems less sharp. Some whisper blessings as they pass. Others bow their heads, offering silent prayers for her son. None speak it aloud, but all feel it. The lamp belongs not only to the woman, it belongs to them all. It is the village's heart, burning quietly, night after night. Above it all, the stars keep their vigil. On clear nights, the sky opens wide, filled with constellations that seem close enough to touch. Some villagers say the stars lean lower above the old woman's house. They say the lamp is in conversation with the heavens, a flame on earth speaking to the eternal fires above. And when meteors streak across the darkness, swift and fleeting, the villagers whisper, perhaps it is her son's soul, passing by, guided by her light. Folk tales have grown around it. Children are told that the lamp has a spirit, that if one gazes into its flame long enough, they may glimpse visions, memories not their own, whispers of lives long gone. Lovers believe the lamp blesses their union, that it seals their promises beneath its glow. Old men sitting at the tea shop murmur that the flame is stronger than death itself. that even if the oil runs dry, even if the wick turns to ash, the light will remain, burning on air alone. And so the lamp is no longer just an object. It is myth. It is folklore. It is the breath of the land, carried forward in fire. The world around it continues to turn. The fields are sown and harvested. The rains come and go. Children grow, leave, return. Generations shift. But the lamp, faithful and enduring, anchors them all. It reminds them that there is continuity, that time may wash everything away, yet some things remain unbroken. Every sound of the night gathers around it, the whisper of the wind through bamboo, the chorus of crickets weaving their eternal hymn, the drip of water from eaves after rain, the distant call of owls. Together they form a lullaby, one that cradles the village, one that merges with the flame. In this world, peace is fragile, like porcelain, yet beautiful. And the lamp, her lamp, reminds them all that fragility is not weakness. It is tenderness made visible. It is love made into light. And so the world continues to breathe, slowly, gently, under the watch of a single flame. The old woman's name is rarely spoken. In the village, she is simply known as the mother. It is not disrespect. It is reverence. Her name has dissolved into her role, as though her entire being is a vessel of care, of waiting, of love stretched across distance. Her hair is white, gathered in a simple knot at the back of her head. It carries the scent of smoke from her lamp, of herbs she dries in the sun. Her face is lined, not with bitterness, but with years of weather, sun, rain, wind, and countless nights without rest. Her hands are thin, their veins rising like rivers on a map. Yet when she touches the lamp, her movements are steady, as though guided by something deeper than strength. Each morning she wakes before the rooster. She steps out into the courtyard, her bare feet brushing against the cool earth. She greets the dawn as though greeting an old friend. She sweeps the fallen leaves slowly, carefully, as if each leaf carries memory. She tends to her small garden, coriander, mint, a row of green onions, a bush of jasmine that blooms each summer. She waters them with patience, whispering to them as though they can hear. The villagers often see her walking along the path to the river, carrying a clay pot. She bends low to fill it with water, then balances it against her hip. Her steps are measured, steady. Along the way, she pauses to greet the trees, the stones, the neighbors. Children run past her, their laughter scattering into the air, and she smiles, though her eyes soften with something deeper, an echo of the days when her own child's laughter filled her yard. She eats little, a bowl of rice, some greens, a bit of fish when offered by neighbors. She does not hunger for much. Her true nourishment seems to come from ritual, from tending the flame, from the act of waiting itself. But within her, beneath the calm of her days, is a heart woven with memories. She remembers her son as a boy, chasing dragonflies along the riverbank, his legs splashing in the shallow water. She remembers sewing his clothes, her needle moving with care while he slept beside her, his small hand curled into hers. She remembers his laughter, sudden and full, ringing like bells through the house. The war took him away. He was young, strong, filled with a fire that made him restless in the quiet of the village. He believed in duty, in protecting the land, in carrying the burden of generations. When he left, he promised her, "I will return. The nights will not be many. Keep the lamp lit, and I will find my way home." And so she keeps it lit, night after night, moon after moon, year after year. Her neighbors whisper, "Perhaps he will not return. Perhaps the earth has claimed him." But she does not let these words take root in her. She listens to her own heart, and her heart says, "Keep the flame alive." At times she feels him near, in the rustle of bamboo, in the ripple of water, in the sudden call of a bird at dusk. She closes her eyes then, and she can almost hear his footsteps in the courtyard, almost hear him call out, "Mother, I'm home." The illusion fades, but she does not despair. Instead, she smiles, as though the very act of remembering keeps him alive. She is not without loneliness. Nights are long, and silence can weigh heavy. She sits beside the lamp, her hands folded in her lap, listening to the crickets. Sometimes she hums an old song, her voice thin but steady. Sometimes she speaks softly into the room, words carried not to any ear present, but to the air, to the unseen. "Are you warm enough? Have you eaten? Do you still remember the sound of my voice?" Her dreams are filled with him. At times she dreams of his childhood. At times she dreams of his return, older, tired, but alive. And sometimes she dreams of nothing at all, only a light stretching across the dark, endless and steady, a mirror of her lamp. She wakes from these dreams calm, as though reassured by forces beyond her understanding. Though her body has grown frail, her spirit is unbroken. The villagers notice it. They see how her back bends, yet her gaze never falters. They see how her hands tremble, yet her flame remains steady. They see how she grows older, yet her waiting does not weaken. And so they begin to treat her with quiet reverence. Children bow their heads when passing her. Young women bring her herbs. Old men include her in their prayers. She has become not just a mother to her son, but a mother to them all, a symbol of love that does not surrender. Sometimes she tells stories. Children gather at her feet, restless at first, but soon stilled by the cadence of her voice. She speaks of the old days, of the river's spirit, of the bamboo that once danced with the wind. She speaks of the moon, how it follows them like a guardian. She tells them that light is never truly gone, it only changes form. Her stories are not grand, they are simple, quiet, threaded with tenderness. But in her voice they become sacred. And when the children leave, when the night grows still again, she returns to her lamp, always to her lamp. For in that flame, she sees her son, but she also sees herself. She sees her devotion made visible. She sees the bond between mother and child, stretched but unbroken. She sees love turned into eternity. Her neighbors sometimes wonder how long she can continue. Her body grows thinner, her steps slower, but the lamp never falters. And as long as it burns, they believe she will endure. And so she remains, fragile as a reed, strong as stone, a mother waiting, a flame alive, a heart eternal. The nights carry memory, not only for the old woman, but for the land itself. The earth remembers the thunder of footsteps, the clash of metal, the silence that follows. The river remembers the weight of bodies, the stains of blood, the prayers whispered into its current. The bamboo remembers the trembling of the ground when cannons roared beyond the hills. And the mother, she remembers most of all. Her son's departure was both sudden and slow. The decision had grown like a seed within him, watered by the voices of neighbors, by the songs of duty, by the restless fire in his own chest. When the call came, he was already leaning toward it, as though the war had been waiting for him, calling him by name. She remembers the morning he left. The mist was still heavy, the earth damp with dew. He stood tall in the courtyard, his bag slung across his back, his eyes bright with conviction. She stood before him, her hands trembling as they reached for his shoulders. She wanted to beg him to stay. She wanted to pull him back into the house, to close the door, to lock the world away. But instead, she only said, "Wait for the lamp. Wherever you are, my son, wait for the lamp. It will burn for you." He smiled then, a smile that pierced her heart with both pride and sorrow. "I will find it," he said. "No matter how far, I will find it." And then he was gone, his figure swallowed by the mist, his footsteps fading into silence. For days the house echoed with absence. The courtyard felt wider, emptier. The meals tasted thin. The nights stretched unbearably long. She lit the lamp then, at first with trembling hands, uncertain if the flame could fill the void. But when the light glowed against the window, she felt something stir, a thread, invisible yet strong, stretching out into the darkness where her son walked. The war did not touch the village at first. It was distant thunder, distant smoke. The villagers whispered, but their fields remained green, their nights calm. But slowly the echoes grew closer. Soldiers passed through, leaving footprints and warnings. The river carried fragments of broken helmets. The wind brought news of battles far away. And sometimes, very late at night, the ground itself seemed to hum with unrest, as though the earth was uneasy. She began to dream differently. In her sleep, she saw flashes, her son running through tall grass, his breath heavy. She saw the glint of steel, the blur of faces she did not know. She saw a river not their own, swollen and fierce, trying to swallow voices. She woke from these dreams gasping, clutching her chest, but the lamp always steadied her. Its glow told her, he is still alive. The flame has not gone out, yet memory has a way of bleeding into the present. One evening, a traveler came through, weary and wounded. He sat by her gate, asking for water. She gave him a bowl, her hands trembling, her eyes searching his face. He was not her son, but his uniform was the same. His eyes, though younger, carried the same fire. You wait for someone, he said quietly, nodding toward the lamp. Yes, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. He did not ask who. He did not need to. Instead, he bowed his head and said, then may the light guide us all. And when he left, she felt both comforted and torn. Comforted that others saw the lamp as she did. Torn that so many mothers must be waiting for sons who may never return. There were nights when the conflict pressed too close. Thunder not of storms but of cannons rolled across the hills. The bamboo trembled. Birds fled in clouds. The villagers huddled in silence, their lamps extinguished, their breaths held. But her lamp burned on. Neighbors urged her to darken it, to hide, to let the night swallow her house. But she shook her head. If he searches, she whispered, how will he find me in the dark? And so it burned, a small defiance, a small prayer. Sometimes soldiers passing through paused to look. Some smiled faintly, as though reminded of their own mothers. Some turned their eyes away, unable to bear the weight of what it meant, but none dared to extinguish it. The flame carried a sacredness even they could not disturb. Years have passed this way. Seasons turn, battles rise and fall, yet still she waits, still she dreams, still she remembers. The conflict has carved shadows into her heart. She has seen neighbors lose their sons, their brothers, their husbands. She has seen fields left untended because hands that once tilled them no longer returned. She has stood at funerals where names were read, each one a wound in the air. She bows her head with them, offers her silent tears, but when she returns home, she lights the lamp again. Because until her son's name is spoken among the lost, she will not surrender. Her memories of him remain vivid, his childhood steps, his laughter echoing through the bamboo, his hands reaching for hers in the dark. She clings to them, polishing them like stones, holding them against the erosion of time. Each night when she trims the wick, she whispers these memories into the flame, as though feeding it not only with oil, but with her love. Conflict is not only in the battlefield, it lives within her too, between hope and despair, between memory and silence, between the fear that he may never return and the faith that he will. Yet the flame steadies her, It tells her, even in conflict, there is light. Even in sorrow, there is love. Even in absence, there is presence. And so the lamp burns on. The war may rage. The rivers may swell. The bamboo may bow beneath storms. But her flame remains, small yet unyielding, fragile yet eternal. It is the conflict, and it is the resolution. It is the memory, and it is the dream. It is the waiting, and it is the return. For in her heart, her son has never truly left. And as long as the lamp burns, he never will. The lamp does not only burn in her house, it burns inside her. And as the years lengthen, as nights stretch into rivers of silence, the light begins to guide her not only through the present, but through pathways of memory and dream. She begins to feel that every evening, when she lights the lamp, a door opens. Not a door of wood or stone, but a door of air, of silence, of unseen threads. Beyond it lies a journey, not across field or rivers, but through her own soul, and perhaps farther still. The journey begins with the sound of the match, the hiss of the flame, the sudden bloom of light. She watches the wick catch, and in that instant, the world softens. The bamboo leans closer. The river's song deepens. The stars above seem to draw near, and she feels herself step gently into another realm. In this realm, the air is filled with whispers. Some are voices of neighbors long gone. Some are lullabies once sung to children now grown or lost. Some are simply the wind, carrying secrets across the hills. She walks slowly, her steps echoing on a ground that feels both solid and fluid. The lamp, cradled in her hands, lights the path. She meets memories along the way. Her son is a child, barefoot and laughing. He runs past her, chasing fireflies, his hands reaching toward the night. She calls his name, but he does not stop. His laughter fades into the air, leaving only the sound of crickets behind. Farther on, she sees herself younger, her hair still dark, her back straight, her eyes filled with the restless fire of youth. This younger self looks at her with wonder, as though recognizing and not recognizing at the same time. The two women bow to each other, silently acknowledging the years that bridge them. Sometimes she sees shadows of war, not vivid, not cruel, but softened, as though the lamp protects her from the sharpness of pain. She sees shapes of soldiers marching, their forms dissolving into mist. She hears distant drums, their rhythm blending with her heartbeat. And she feels her son among them, though she cannot reach him. The journey is not linear. It drifts like the river, turning, circling, carrying her to places both real and imagined. She walks through fields of bamboo that whisper her name. She crosses bridges made of moonlight where the stars are close enough to touch. She sits by rivers that reflect not only the sky, but her own face, younger, older, endless. The lamp never falters. Its flame is steady, even when winds rise, even when shadows press close. It becomes her companion, her compass, her guardian. Without it, she feels she would dissolve into the mist. With it, she feels whole, even in the presence of loss. And as she journeys night after night, she begins to understand. The waiting itself is a path. It is not emptiness. It is movement. It is a pilgrimage of love, stretching across time, binding her to her son, binding her to the world. There are nights when she feels him near, closer than ever. She dreams of him walking toward her, older, weary, but alive. His eyes meet hers, and for a moment, the years of distance collapse. He reaches for the lamp, his hand trembling, his voice caught in his throat. She wakes before he can speak, but the warmth of his presence lingers like dawn. Other nights, she meets figures she cannot name, ancestors perhaps, or spirits of the land. They nod to her, their faces kind, their forms glowing faintly in the lamplight. One whispers, "Every flame belongs to the same fire." Another says, Waiting is not silence. Waiting is prayer. She bows to them, carrying their words into her waking heart. Her journey is not without sorrow. There are nights when the path is heavy, when the shadows feel endless, when the flame flickers and her chest tightens with fear. She kneels then, shielding the lamp with her hands, whispering, "Do not leave me. Do not leave him." And each time the flame steadies, as though answering her plea. Through this journey she changes. The villagers notice. Though her body grows frailer, her presence deepens. When she looks at them, it is as though she sees not only who they are, but who they were and who they might become. Children feel calmed in her gaze. Elders find comfort in her silence. Even strangers sense it, that this woman carries something beyond herself, something gathered from the path she walks each night. She begins to tell different stories not only of rivers and moons, but of journeys unseen. She speaks of bridges made of light. She speaks of voices that are never lost, only transformed. She tells children that when they feel lonely, they should light a small flame, and the flame will listen. She tells young couples that their love is like oil in a lamp. It must be tended, refilled, protected, but when cared for, it will shine brighter than the stars. Her journey becomes the village's journey. Though none walk it as she does, they feel it through her presence, through the lamp's steady glow. They begin to see their own lives reflected in the flame, their losses, their hopes, their quiet endurance. And slowly the lamp becomes not only her prayer, but theirs. She walks this path night after night until the line between waking and dreaming blurs. Is she sitting in her small wooden house, the lamp on the windowsill? Or is she walking through fields of silver grass, guided by stars? Both feel true. Both feel necessary. For her journey is not about arriving, it is about continuing. And so she continues, step by step, night by night, flame by flame. Her waiting is not stillness. It is motion, carried gently forward by the lamp. It is a river that flows not to the sea, but into eternity. And though her son has not yet returned, she feels him with her on this path, not as absence, but as presence unseen. Each flicker of the flame is his breath. Each whisper of bamboo is his voice. Each reflection in the river is his face. Her journey is his journey. Her lamp is his lamp. Her waiting is their bond, unbroken, unending. The lamp was never meant to be only a household thing. It was not simply wick and oil, glass and flame. As nights turned into seasons and seasons into years, it began to grow beyond itself. Villagers whispered that it never seemed to burn out, even when oil was scarce. Some said they saw the flame even through heavy rain, steady as if the storm itself bowed before it. Children claimed that when they stood near the window at night, they could hear the lamp humming softly, like a lullaby, though no one else in the house was singing. At first, they thought it was imagination, but imagination, too, is a kind of truth. And the more they watched, the more they began to believe. The lamp was not just waiting, it was becoming. One evening, as the moon rose full over the river, the old woman noticed something new. The flame inside the lamp flickered, not with weakness, but with rhythm. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Each glow seemed to breathe, in and out, as though the lamp had become alive. She held it close and whispered, "Is it you, my child?" The flame leaned as if in answer. From that night on, she was no longer alone in her vigil. The lamp had become a companion in the truest sense. When she spoke, it seemed to listen. When she wept, the flame swayed gently, as though consoling her. When she fell asleep in her chair, the flame guarded her, casting soft circles of light that no shadow dared to cross. The villagers began to gather quietly outside her house. They came not to disturb, but to share. Lovers whispered vows beneath the lamplight, believing it would bless them with endurance. Mothers carried sick children to the window, hoping the flame would watch over them. Old men bowed their heads, murmuring names of the departed, certain that the lamp would carry their prayers to the unseen. And slowly the lamp's meaning deepened. It was no longer just a mother waiting for her son. It was every waiting, every absence, every heart that longed. The lamp became the village's star, and when they spoke of it, they did not say, her lamp. They said, our lamp. Legends began to weave themselves around it. Some said that the lamp was touched by the river god, who pitied the mother's grief and gave her flame that could never fail. Others believed it was the child's spirit itself, returned not in body but in fire, to comfort her until the end of her days. Children told each other that if you stared long enough into the flame, you could see faces. Faces of loved ones lost, glowing gently in the light. The woman herself never claimed anything. She simply lit the lamp, night after night, as she always had. Yet she felt the change. She felt the presence that grew stronger each evening. It was not just her son, it was all sons, all daughters, all who had left and not returned. The flame was vast, larger than her grief, larger than her village, as wide as the sky itself. One stormy night, when winds roared and rain lashed like whips, the villagers feared the lamp would finally fall. They hurried to her house carrying cloths, boards, anything to shield it. But when they arrived, they stopped in awe. The lamp shone brighter than ever, its glow spilling across the storm, lighting the street as though it were day. The rain hissed against the glass, but could not touch the flame. The villagers knelt, their wet hair plastered to their faces, their hands trembling. They knew then, this was no ordinary light. From that day forward, they tended the lamp with her. When her hands grew weak, young ones filled the oil. When her eyes grew dim, others watched beside her. The lamp had ceased to be one woman's act of devotion. It had become the devotion of a people. And with this, the old woman felt peace settle in her bones. Not the peace of answers, but the peace of knowing that her waiting was not in vain. She had given her son's absence shape, had turned it into light that could guide others. She had transformed grief into symbol, love into eternity. Her son had not returned, yet his presence was everywhere. Every flicker was his laughter. Every steady glow was his promise. Every reflection in the oil was his gaze. And the villagers carried that flame into their own lives. They built small lamps of their own, lighting them in times of hardship. They carried tiny flames to weddings, to births, to funerals, letting the glow remind them of the bond between the living and the departed. The lamp had multiplied, spreading its warmth across the land. The river carried stories of it downstream. Other villages heard whispers of a flame that never died, of a mother whose love defied time. Travelers came walking softly into the night just to see the glow. Some wept, some prayed, some simply stood, silent, breathing in the stillness. In time, the lamp became myth. But myth, too, is a form of truth. And in myth, the flame grew eternal. Children born long after the war asked, "Is it real?" Their elders smiled and said, "Come, see for yourself." And when they did, standing before the gentle glow, the children felt something stir within them, something beyond proof, beyond reason, a tenderness, a belonging, a reminder that no one is ever truly gone, so long as they are remembered. The woman grew older still, her hair white as the moonlight, her hands fragile as dry leaves. Yet each night she lit the lamp with the same care as the first. She bowed before it, whispered to it, smiled into its glow. And when sleep claimed her, the lamp continued, guarding the silence. At last, when her time came, the villagers found her seated peacefully, the lamp burning beside her. Her face was calm, her lips curved in the faintest smile, as though she had finally heard the footsteps she had waited for. The lamp's flame flickered once, twice, then steadied, brighter than ever, as if to say, "She is not gone. She has become the light itself." From then on, no one dared extinguish it. The villagers kept it alive, passing its care from hand to hand, from generation to generation. The flame became part of their lives, part of their stories, part of their very breath. The lamp was not just a mother's vigil anymore. It was eternity, housed in glass. It was love, burning without end. And so it remains through rain and storm, through silence and song. A beacon, a prayer, a promise. The eternal flame of waiting, transformed into the eternal flame of belonging. The story drifts toward its close, the way night drifts into dawn, quietly, without hurry, without edge. The lamp still burns. That is the truth that remains. It burns on the windowsill, watched over by villagers, carried in memory by travelers, whispered in lullabies to children who never knew the war. Its flame is steady, patient, endlessly gentle. It has become more than fire. It has become a way of breathing, a way of remembering, a way of loving. And somewhere in the spaces between silence and song, the old woman's spirit lingers, not as a shadow, not as a ghost, but as warmth itself. In the hush of bamboo at night, you may feel her presence. In the sigh of the river under the moon, you may hear her whisper. In the glow of every small flame, lit in hope or grief, you may find her waiting still, not with sorrow, but with peace. The lamp is no longer a question, no longer a plea. It is an answer, a quiet one, but an answer all the same. It says, love does not vanish. It says, waiting is also belonging. It says, even in the darkest nights, a single light is enough. And so, the story of the mother and her lamp is not one of loss, but of transformation. Grief became devotion. Devotion became symbol. Symbol became eternity. The Son may never have returned in flesh, but he returned in flame, in memory, in the lives touched by the light that never failed. Now, as you listen, let the image of that lamp settle gently inside you. Picture it glowing, steady, soft, like a star you can hold in your hands. Let its rhythm slow your breath. Let its warmth ease the weight you carry. Outside your own window, there may be wind or rain or silence. But within you, the lamp can burn. It can guide you through the quiet hours, reminding you that you are never truly alone. Somewhere, someone waits for you. Somewhere, someone remembers you. And even if the night feels endless, dawn is always promised. The story ends, but the flame continues. It continues in you. It continues in every heart that listens. May you carry it into your sleep tonight. May it soften your dreams, steady your breathing, guard your rest. May you wake with peace, with gentleness, with the certainty that love, once lit, never dies. Good night, dear listener. Good night, dreamer. Good night, child of the endless lamp. Sleep well, sleep safely, sleep in light.